Just imagine you walking down the street, right? Evening, folks. It's your man Donald King. I don't know. Something rhymes with king, ring. Brandish my ring. Brandishing the ring. That's interesting. Cut this off here. I just don't want too much noise pollution, but it gets kind of hot in here, like I've mentioned on occasion before. God, it's a beautiful day today, man. Have y'all been outside and frolicked? Have you been outside today in Ohio? It's fire. It's insane. It's beautiful for no reason. I'm trying to get out here in a couple of minutes, man. Enjoy some of this evening weather. I hope all of y'all are doing well tonight. Subject of tonight's podcast is, well, is simply the nature of me as divorced from this thing I purport to be. I don't trust anything I didn't earn. I don't trust anything I didn't put in on. I don't trust it. I want you to imagine you are a man. And you walking down the street, right? In your current socioeconomic bracket, right? I want you to imagine Rihanna, her fine ass, comes over to you like, boy, you do everything for me. I want you in my life. Marry me, please. You can, no prenup, no nothing. You can just have me do what you want with my body. Or however the fuck she talks. Imagine she came to you with that energy, right? Now, if you're a narcissist, then you probably believe that you deserve it. You're like, man, yeah, that's right. That's right. About time somebody with some clout recognized my potency. About time somebody see how dope I am. And you kind of brush it off like, you know, of course she likes me. Of course she wants me. Right? Look at how dope I am. Now, if you're realistic and you sort of grounded in reality, you understand that this insanely gorgeous woman doesn't just have access to you, but has access to some of the most beautiful humans on the planet. Of her taste, of course. Who have wealth, and because of wealth, have good health, and, you know, all clean, and they don't have the struggle life tattooed all over their face and body. Now, if somebody like her came over to you telling you, hey, I want you, I give you everything, I give you half of what I got, I just want you in my life, I want you in my bed, would you trust it? Or would you be looking around for Ashton Kutcher, maybe jump out, tell you that you punked? Would you be thinking it was some sort of practical joke or somebody put her up to it? Or that she was probably doing some shit for shits and giggles to amuse herself at your expense? If you grounded in reality, then probably. You probably wouldn't trust it. You wouldn't probably trust it as far as you could throw her. You'd be like, why the fuck? You dated Chris Brown. You dated, like, Middle Eastern royalty and shit like that. The fuck you want me for? And the reason why I mention that is because in your heart of hearts and in your mind, assuming you're grounded in reality, you know that you didn't do what was required to earn somebody like that. Same thing could apply for a lady. I remember a model back in the day, Tyson Beckford. It was big shit. Everybody loved this guy. He's still probably doing his thug thizzle. I don't know. I don't keep up with society like that. But if you are a single mother of four and you got struggle life tattooed all over you, not saying you don't have value, but with somebody who has access to the most beautiful humans on the planet, who can be in any wet hole he so desires at any point in time, would you be like, yo, yeah, he sees my value. Yeah, my box got it like that. My pussy's so good that, you know, he sensed it from a mile away and was like, yeah, let me get all up in that. I'm gonna leave all of the model pussy I'm getting behind and shack up with her. Did you earn it? I don't trust things that I don't earn. I don't trust things that I don't earn. Something you may not know about me. I've been working since I was 9 years old, 8 years old. You see, I was a foster kid. And I never wanted to ask my parents or my caretakers for money. So I would knock on people's doors, ask them if they had odd jobs for me to do. What up, what up? What up, brother Jameson? I would knock on people's doors and ask them if they had odd jobs for me to do. I would shovel walks and do little shit to earn my keep. As soon as I was old enough to, I got a job. And I start trading my time away for resources to survive on. I've always done the work. I've always done the work. I don't expect handouts from anybody. I don't. And the reason why I'm even reluctant to take handouts from anybody is because I don't trust what I didn't earn. I don't trust it. So when I became this avatar thing I purport to be, you got to understand that this was a very hard thing for me to accept. Now, on the one hand, I mean, obviously it's fantastic. I've been to heaven. I've been places. I've been throughout the body of the universe, and all of that without my physical body leaving the planet. So, you know, there's the question of delusion. There's the question of, you know, whether or not I imagined it all, or, you know, I'm suffering from bouts of psychosis. I had to actually pour through all of this data, and I did, and I'll explain why in just a second. But I had to pour through all these situations and really sit with this notion that I am this thing of legend. You know, the biggest hurdle to dealing with the notion, the fact, the idea that I might be, I didn't earn it. I didn't earn it. There are millions of people throughout history and from around the globe who sit on hillsides and mountainsides and they study holy texts and they do the work to be and or become spiritual masters. Yet and all, here this narcissistic, pragmatic atheist who had no business delving into the realm of spirituality at all, who had no experience even dealing with or contemplating such things, all of a sudden this bombshell gets dropped in my lap. I learned that I'm a thing people have been waiting on for a long time, and it doesn't sit right with me. It didn't sit right with me because I didn't earn it. There are people who spend years trying to get to heaven or trying to get to Valhalla or whatever the fuck they want to call it. People who fast for 30, 40 days. People trying to be spiritual masters that I just sort of clumsily fell into They try to become this thing, or versions of this thing, or lower versions of this thing that I just blindly stumbled into. I'll get to you in just a second, Brother Jameson. That's the hardest part about being an avatar. So I do the work to make sure that the avatar perspective is legit. I do the work to make sure that this thing I purport to host, which imbues me with the type of sight that gives me understanding that performs beyond the limits and levels of convention, I do the work to make sure it's legit. It's only fair. I allow myself to be tested by convention. I allow myself to be tested by the best minds I can find and get access to. I want people to poke holes in the shit that I'm talking about and prove to me why I'm wrong and why this is all some grand delusion. Because if I can prove that I'm full of shit, then one, I get to give it up. But two, I don't feel guilty for having something I didn't earn. Now, on the back end, I have done the work. I have done so much work. And it kind of justifies why I got it without doing the work on the front end, because once you become imbued with the avatar perspective, once you become an avatar, the amount of work you have to put in order to just do the task, it's unworldly. Like, you don't, I'm tired every second of every day. Spiritually, physically, emotionally drained. I've taken more battering and abuse than I could possibly fathom, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come. So I've done the work. Like, even when I ask people to give people opportunity to contribute to building this up to a larger platform, it's only after I've done the work of putting out universal math and putting out organizing intelligence and doing all of these all of the just all the content that I've been putting out through the years. I've done the work, so I don't feel guilty in saying, hey, if you guys want to pitch in, feel free. But just towards becoming an avatar, too many people have given way too much in life to reach the heights of spiritual living, and some person who was a really shitty person at the time fell ass backwards into enlightenment. I fell ass backwards into enlightenment, so should I trust it? Brother Jameson, good sound, bro. I'd like to got your vocals. That's you've bro. I'm gonna share it about my dudes for you, right? Keep it up, right? Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. And yeah, this is what it boils down to. You know, y'all remember those? Well, not remember. It's not like it's in the distant past. You know those PPP loans everybody was giving out? One of my homeboys was like, yo, man, hey, you got a business. You got your LLC. You know, you got your little baking company. Why don't you set up for that PPP loan? And I'm like, nah, I ain't trust it. Somebody's like, oh, it's a forgivable loan. That, first of all, that's just weird language to begin with. A forgivable loan? And you're like, well, is it a loan or is it a grant? Which one is it? It's a lottery. So you can take on this money during an economic downturn, not be able to repay the money, and then could go to jail. And I wasn't even thinking about people scamming the system, but look at all these people who scammed the PPP setup and shit like that, only to turn around and get clapped up by the feds. I ain't trusted. Name one thing you know in society that's free. Do you trust anything that's free? Do you trust anything anyone is trying to give to you for free? Put it like this. If you're in a bar, and this cute girl comes over to you, and she's like, hey, why don't you come to the back? I want to give you some pussy, like right now. I want to fuck you right now, raw. Let's go. Would you trust it? I know women don't trust guys because guys are always trying to give away dick for free. But seriously, just sitting here, you're like, what kind of problems come attached with that dick? You know what I'm saying? What's crawling around in you, bro? You don't trust things that you didn't earn. A lot of people have offered to give me sort of help in the way of business, you know. Some people are trustworthy, others are trying to get you in their pocket. When people come to you, tossing gifts at you, I've never seen a gift come without a string. I've never seen a gift come without a string. So I don't trust things that I didn't earn. I don't. Which again made it really hard for me to accept being an avatar. That's part of the reason why I spent so much time trying to disprove myself and trying to invalidate myself. And trying to let people invalidate me. Why me? Of all the people who might deserve such a benefit, why me? And I say benefit because, again, you get to see reality in almost absolute pitch. You know what I'm saying? And on top of seeing reality in absolute pitch, the beauty of seeing reality in absolute pitch is it sort of takes away it sort of quells the most I say basic human deficit, and that is the fear, the phobia of experiencing insecurity and uncertainty. When you can see behind the fabric of reality, when you've already been to heaven, when you already know what exists on the other side of the material realm, it takes away a lot of anxiety. It's kind of like being in the last days of high school. I know if y'all recall the last days of high school. Remember when you got all your credits in and what nothing nobody could do? And you were going to march across the stage anyway? And everything was just kind of like a dream, and you're just kind of like, you were just you're waiting to cross the stage. Because you knew you already had. By way of credit, you knew you already had. That's what being an avatar is like. Except for me, I'm still doing this work, man. I'm out here putting these hours in. Trying to manage a life. Trying to manage a life where you actually had to sacrifice your social life on the front end coming into this role, trying to manage remnants of a social life in the midst of being something that is beyond society is difficult. It's rough. You know, I've been watching, just recently I watched this series on Netflix called Ragnarok. Sometimes y'all humans come up with media products that are pretty fucking spot on, man. Ragnarok happens to be one of those, kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. The first series, I didn't watch Korra, but they came pretty close to how this shit works, just like The Matrix came pretty close to how this shit works, but this is how Ragnarok works. So there's this sort of oafish dude who is kind of weird and awkward and clumsy. Yeah. And it turns out, through no effort of his own, he is a mythical being. And it doesn't come with instruction manuals, so he's running around looking for people to be allies and looking for guides and looking for information, just trying to solve this larger than life puzzle that got thrust in his lap. And out the gate, because of what he is, he's hated. He's reviled by individuals who hate him on the strength of what he is, which has absolutely nothing to do with how he is or the type of person he is in the way of making impacts on others performing in the world around him. It's like, imagine one day waking up and finding out you're Thor. Imagine you thought all the stories of old you heard about Thor through Norse mythology were ridiculous and fairy tales, stuff that children believe in, only to turn around and find out you're fucking Thor. Like, everybody, like, if you're a narcissist, and you feel like you deserve to be such a being and to experience that kind of power, then you're going to be like, oh man, why him and not me? I deserve it more than him. Yeah. Imagine finding out you're fucking Thor when you thought all of the mythology surrounding Thor was absolute bullshit. You thought it was rubbish. How do you make sense of that? Even worse, how do you explain it to people? The only people who can appreciate the fact that you're something beyond them are those who are not run-of-the-mill narcissistic ideologues. The narcissistic ideologues, they think that you think you're special. You think you're better than them, and yeah. And all the while, the only people who actually recognize that there is something truly unique about you, something that separates you from the crowd, are other gifted people. The weight of being Thor and having to sort of not flex on everybody so as not to scare them or endanger those around you who are connected to you. It's a lot. 1 second you go from thinking people are stupid for thinking what you are and who you are is real, to being thrust right in the middle of it, and it's not something you earned. So you can't trust it. You can't trust your powers, so you have to test them over and over and over again to make sure they're real. You don't trust the people around you because everybody has an angle. People who recognize you are Thor, they're like, hey, how can I use this to my advantage? Or, how do I crush him so that he doesn't get in the way of my plans? And you know something no one is paying attention to? Something no one is concerned with? You. No one is concerned with you and your experience. Oh, he's got it. He's cool. He'll be alright. That's the way it goes, man. It's the way it goes. Everybody thinks they're special until they come across somebody who truly is, and then all of a sudden they're haters. It's too much. It's a lot. Everybody thinks they're great until they come across someone who isn't limited in the same ways they are, or constrained and confined to the systems they operate and perform within. We're all special until you demonstrate something that goes beyond their limitations. Then all of a sudden, you think you're better than the rest of us. Whole time, they're not even knowing, dog, I ain't even believing none of this shit. It just fell in my lap. And I don't know if I can trust it, because throughout my life, the only things I've ever been able to keep my hands on are things that I built. Only things I've ever been able to, the only covers I ever had to cover myself at night were things that I bought. Somebody's like, hey, take this synthol in your arms. It'll make your muscles look bigger. I don't want my muscles to look bigger if I ain't earn them. Take these steroids. Nah, I'm not fucking with that shit. You're trying to get me to do something I didn't earn. You're trying to get me to accept something I didn't earn. I know there's a string attached to it. There's a downside to things that you didn't earn. Fortunately for me, I understand the downside of being an avatar, because I live it every day. Just all the animosity, all the pain that comes along with it. Again, it's like I'm not in bad shape. I'm in good shape. Like, I'm very grateful for my body being in the type of shape that it's in right now. But it's like, man, for the amount of work this role requires, I burned the candle in the middle. I burned the candle in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Can you trust something you didn't earn? Ever since I was a little boy, if I want something, go put that work in. Even now, I'm like, when I'm still trying to gather tools for my little baking company, my buddies hit me up. Hey, man, I got some day labor. You want to take it? Yup, done. Give it to me. Nom, nom, nom. I take it. Hey, man, can you come fix this for me? Yup. All the work that you've seen me put into all these posts, y'all think I'm doing this for fun? I'm not doing it for fun. I'm doing it because I'm fucking supposed to. All that content produced, all the essays, hundreds of essays, hundreds of parables, and thousands of parables and stories, thousands of comments, tens of thousands of comments, explaining principles, hours spent counseling people, trying to get them to understand different ways to approach situations towards bettering their life and their relationships with others. Helping people learn how to reverse negative impacts they've made on reality as a system. This is all work. It's all work. Any privilege or consideration afforded to me from this point forward will have been earned. You donate to me, you're donating to a body of work I've put out just trying to help the species. It's not, hey, you know what? Give me this so I'll put it out. It's like, no. I've lit, all of this has come out of my soul. It's come out of my energy. It's come out of my life. My whole life has been dedicated to helping uplift the species at both the individual and group levels respectively. Everything is earned. It's all earned. Every single principle I shared is useful to you in the present, and if you allow it to, it'll help move your life in the right direction. Every single principle, even the ones where I talk about, reasons why you don't want to fuck with me and bring your animus and funky attitude to me, that's designed to help you. Because again, I'm hosting an entity that doesn't take your shit. You got a bad attitude? In this world, there are people who you can bring your bad attitude right now. Bad attitude to right now. Which would be the wrong move. You go over to a Russian mobster, somebody who can only hurt flesh, and you bring your funky little attitude. Who do you think you are? You're not gonna get. And you will end up in a fucking meat locker, hanging with hooks through your heels while you're being carved from the rooter to the tutor. You can't bring that energy to humans now without suffering some sort of recourse. So what makes you think that you can bring it to meta beings and they're just going to take your shit because you're special? Are you insane? That's the problem with narcissism. Narcissism makes you believe that you have freedoms you simply don't. You're not allowed to aggress against reality because you're in a bad mood or you hurt or any of those other things. And if you haven't learned how to be emotionally disciplined toward checking your desire to lash out at others whenever you feel bad, it's 100% your fault if you bring that funky negative energy to reality. Nobody's here to take your shit. Nobody's here to put up with your bullshit. You go through pain, you bear down, learn how to get your bearings through it, and learn how to keep your spirit intact so that it's like, you know what? You can press through it. It goes back to that scripture I was talking about the other day. What was it, Matthew 7? When Jesus was talking about, or was it Matthew 6? When he was talking about, and when you're fasting, don't put on a big circus letting everybody see you fast. Keep your face clean, keep it tight and right. Do it in private. And you'll be rewarded by God in private. But when you do it for show, then the praise and admiration of men is all you're going to get. Take that scripture and sort of take that same ideal type and sort of, I guess, expand it out a little bit. And it's saying, hey, you know what? Don't walk around in a victimhood mentality and think that, or allow yourself to believe that your suffering is a right to sort of transfer your negative emotions into others. No, it's your job to learn how to manage your shit. I had to learn how to manage my shit. It's something I practice every day. I practice being honest. I practice being authentic. I practice being reasonable. I practice being kind. Even when I hurt, I practice being patient. Conversely, y'all out here practicing outraging and raging out on shit and self-idealizing and taking a bunch of pictures and looking in the mirror. Oh, look how great I am. I'm amazing. You practice being aggressive. You practice being competitive so that ultimately you leave yourself with no choice but to bring your funky emotions to people when you're in a bad mood because you haven't spent any time mentally or emotionally disciplining yourself. I discipline myself so I can keep my shit intact, so that I can stay in line. It's the work I put in. I put in the work. So when people say, oh, you're narcissistic, oh, it's all deep social acting. No, it's not, because I put in the work to actually become a better person. Can I trust the fact that I'm a good person now? I'm much better than I used to be. Whether or not I call myself good, that's debatable. I'm a source of comfort to those who seek to be in theme with reality and who practice honesty, but I'm also a source of discomfort to people who maybe are lost in corruption and lost in their self-image and self-idealizing. So some people who are honest and who are compassionate and who are intuitively in sync with the world around them and who are sort of synced up with reality, then they're gonna look at me and be like, yo, that's a good dude. People who interact with me, who don't, go back and spin stories about me because I trigger them. They'll be like, yo, that's a good person. But people who are sort of narcissistic and competitive and aggressive and greedy, they're going to be like, yo, fuck that dude. He sucks. It's all acting. I knew him when he was cowardly ideologues. Yeah. But I earned the person I am now, how I am to people in the world right now, the fact that I can stand on what I say, it was earned. Work was put in. I got the pay. This is the payoff. What you see performing in front of you now, in the way of being a man or meta or whatever the fuck you want to call me, it was earned. I put in the work to become a better person. So I trust, one, the avatar perspective because I've put in the work to vet it. And two, I trust myself in knowing what my motivations towards others truly are. Are you evil, Donald King? I don't know. Let me find out. Let me do the work to see if something evil is sort of playing with me from behind the scenes. Are you narcissistic, Donald King? I don't know. Let me sit down and really see what my motivations are towards other people. Am I trying to exploit them, or do I actually work to make things better and more clear and discernible for people? What stands before you is a man refined by work, real work, towards vetting whether or not he is how he claims to be. I don't like to not keep my word to people. I've been super busy lately, guys, so it's like, I know I'm behind on a few orders. And, I want to make sure that it's like I get folks taken care of. So if I am behind in getting some product to you in the way of bacon and stuff like that, I do apologize. I've been super busy between here and Indiana and just trying to do what I can to stay afloat. And the work threshold is much. I've done the work to prove that I am what I say I am. I've done the work. You can go back and read through the body of work I put out. You can watch my videos. You can think, oh yeah, he's legit. It's not hard. Unless you're a narcissist and you have to block me out in order to protect your inner story. But on top of all of the work that's gone into being an avatar for the last, I want to say 6 years prior to this past year, I was a full-time caretaker to a little boy with special needs while dealing with insane home life and very toxic environments. And on top of that, having to find my way in the world, having to work to get resources, to do the work to help people for this species. I'm fucking tired, man. I'm tired. I've done the work. I've done the work on every front. Y'all can step up and assist. I welcome you to, because, well, I actually strongly urge you to, but yeah, I've done the work. I was talking earlier today about people expecting God to show up and fix them when they haven't done any work to fix themselves. What you think? You can just eat soul food and just do whatever you want to do, not take care of your body, and that you know God's just going to show up and magic wand away all the damage you put into yourself? Nah, you going to have to do better in eating right. You have to get some fiber. You have to exercise. You have to drink water. You have to get some living foods in you. But when you start doing the work, this is the way reality works at a mechanical level. When you corrupt something, or when you corrupt yourself, then, you know, that's damage that you've done. Reality won't reward corruption. But when you start putting effort in to restore balance, reality, God is right there assisting you, multiplying your effort. Hey man, you overweight? You lay on the couch, you want to sit down and just like not do nothing? That's cool. That's cool. But guess what? You sit here and like, oh God, my joints hurt, my back hurts, everything hurts. I feel no energy and all those other things. And reality is like, yeah, that's based on the amount of work you're putting in, bro. Then all of a sudden, you get up and you start doing something, and you're sore at first. But then after you sore, guess what? Your muscles are a little bit stronger. You know what? You done lost a little bit of weight. As a machine, your body is functioning better. Then all of a sudden, you have more energy to invest in bettering yourself a little bit more. Same goes with thinking. Same goes with honesty. You sit here and it's like you had to solve a difficult problem. You're used to not thinking for yourself. You're used to being a goddamn ideologue and letting everything and everyone do all the thinking for you. And then all of a sudden you're placed in a situation where you have to figure something out on your own. And you step in there and figuring it out on your first try, it causes you all sorts of cognitive dissonance, and you get a headache, and you're tired, and you're cranky, and you're angry. But you go through the process, you tough it out, then all of a sudden, you solve the problem, and you're imbued with mental strength that helps you towards problem solving in the future. You're having trouble being honest. You're having trouble being honest, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what? It's easier to lie, and you're just used to lying and sort of living and barricading yourself within your inner story. And all of a sudden you come across a situation that challenges you to have to step forward and face some consequences, and you choose to be honest about something you've done. And you know what it does? It imbues you with a little bit of bravery. It imbues you with a little bit of bravery, so next time it becomes a little bit easier for you to be honest, and you're a little less scared of the consequence. Every time you do something to move towards reality and move towards betterment, reality is right there like, yo, I'm about to multiply your efforts. I'm going to make you stronger than you were the day before. I'm going to make you stronger than what you were the day before. But you have to choose it. You have to choose betterment over complacency and convenience. You have to choose honesty over stories and retreating into the internal narrative. You have to choose bravery over cowardice. You have to choose doing what is essential over doing What's easiest? Reality requires effort from you. When you honor reality by meeting the requirements of effort from you, reality multiplies your capacity for effort. It multiplies your ability to do. Which is why I trust things that I earn. You see, it's not just about not trusting something that comes from someone with no strings attached, or the perception of no strings attached. When you earn something, you get twice the pay. You get the pay in terms of whatever system of exchange or monetary compensation or award comes to you, but you also get the pay from reality in the way of doubling your capacity for, or at least multiplying your capacity for execution and output. It's kind of like why I like, not to be too crude, but why I like making love to women with, vaginal penetration. When we're synced up, and both of us orgasm, there's the pleasure of giving her the pleasure, but then there's a pleasure that I get, and it's double the reward. Now, conversely, you could just let someone get you off. And that's cool. I mean, if you're selfish and narcissistic, if you just want to be serviced, you get half the pleasure. But when you go all the way in and you're dealing in mutualism and symbiosis, you get that double factor reward. That's how everything works in reality. Mutualism always, always, always yields a greater reward than exploitation. Always. Building with someone always yields a greater reward than enslaving someone and making them or forcing them to build for you. Or tricking them into building for you. But these are principles of reality, guys. These are principles of reality. So yeah, man. This is where we're at with everything, man. So, yeah. Look at me. I'm a little misty. It's hot up here, but yo. First of all, brother Jameson, I appreciate you for chiming in. Shit, I didn't see anybody else chime in tonight. Maybe this is just one of those slow days where nobody's messing with your boy. I really do hope y'all change y'all attitude, because again, you're like, a lot of y'all really, really are just, you're barking up the wrong tree with your funky attitudes. You really are. You're barking up the wrong tree with your aggression and your competitiveness, which are the same, which are basically one and the same. But your narcissism has you gunning for something that doesn't take that shit. I am telling you with good, I'm telling you out of the kindness of my heart, you don't want this smoke. Again, flesh heals, man. Flesh adapts, and even when it can't heal or adapt, it has limits. Very, very low limits in terms of what it can experience before it expires. I've made this analogy before, but I want to double back to it. I want you to imagine, like, okay, so now imagine like the hottest flame you can think of on this planet, right? Let's say it's a flame that's strong enough to burn your flesh within an hour or two, right? You would die long before you could experience all of that pain. Like you hit your threshold and you would just expire. That's the way it works in flesh. You could liken the hottest flame that can be produced on this planet, it's like 2000 Kelvin or some shit like that. I don't know. You can liken that to, I don't know, a match burning a finger. What most people don't realize about the flesh, and I guess the spirit as opposed to the flesh, is there are no sensory limits on experience when it comes to the spirit. So I want you to compare being burned by a match to the most pain you can experience in the body to actually being at the core of the hottest star in the universe and being able to experience all of it in the way of pain and sensation and it, like, just the entire experience. There are no limits to what you experience when you're out of the flesh. Which is why I strongly urge you all, please stop being dicks. The thing that I'm hosting does not tolerate your funky attitude. If you hang around a bunch of assholes who tell you you're doing good for being an aggressive asshole to someone who's only been kind to you, you hang around, you bad association spoils useful habits. You will get yourself in trouble, and you alone will have to answer for being a dick. It's not spread out over people. Like every impact you make on reality, that sources back to you. And how you choose to interact with me as motivated by hanging out with a bunch of cowardly people, especially the Judas figure, that's on you. But you will catch that fade. I'm trying to spare you from catching that fade. Brother Jamison comes back in. Excuse me, Donald. Excuse me, Donald. Can I have your number after? I will be tagging you on What's Up, My Blood. Just write it on your page. I'm going to take this. Okay, God bless more. Bless you more when you'll be asleep. Don't forget to pray before. Yeah. Hey, my brother, I was explaining this not too long ago. I remain in a state of prayer. Like now that I'm this thing, and now that I've gone through the sort of induction processes and all those other things, and I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that I'm like, I wouldn't say this like I've got mastery over it, but I'm a lot further along in terms of understanding than I was before. I'm a lot more proficient at being it and sort of cooperating with and using the avatar perspective to explain principles. I remain in a constant state of prayer. I'm always in a state of meditation. When you see me talking right now, you see me in flow state. This is how I live now. Obviously, all glory to God, but still. Yeah. And I'll try and reach out to you before too long. I don't have my WhatsApp number offhand because I rarely use that application. I usually speak to people through Messenger, but yeah, we'll chop it up. We can politic and parlay. Anywho, guys, we are running out of time here. I have a few deliveries to make tonight. Y'all know what it is. I shoot these podcasts on Mondays and Wednesdays on Facebook Live. And then I shoot all of these podcasts over to my YouTube channel, and you can check them out on your own time. They're labeled by podcast number and then by the title of the podcast. which basically covers what I'm going to be talking about within it. So check them out whenever you get an opportunity to. And my handle on Instagram is Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13. And you can also catch me on Medium. I post content to that platform fairly often, even though my numbers have gone down significantly lately. I'm guessing somebody is doing the most behind the scenes. We must stop him. This is the dumbest part about people trying to stop me. Like, they're so focused on making it to the square in front of them that they can't see the rest of the board. If you're only playing against humanity, if you're only playing against your fucking folklore and things of this nature, and your only focus is making it to the next square, and you're completely blind to the rest of the board, to the rest of reality, where are you gonna go? You're trying to cheat, scratch, steal, and claw your way to the next space, not realizing the next space is the fucking incinerator. Like there is no scenario in which you win. None. Because the game you're playing in itself is a losing game. Right now, you should be in salvage mode. Like, okay, how do we mitigate the amount of damage we're going to take in? Because if we just listen to this guy, we would realize that the game we've been trying to win right now has already been rendered invalid. It's already been invalidated. It's insane. But anywho, long story short, I talk. Yo, man. Right. Also, if you guys get any sort of appreciation out of what I do and you just want to bless your boy with a little bit of love and help, build this up to a larger platform and reach as many people as I can, help me reach as many people as I can before I'm out of this body, you can always join the Patreon family. I am Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13. And also, you can salt bay your boy with a little bit of love. Throw something in the collection plate at at Donnie Kang on Cash App. That's DonnieKang. Donnie Kang. Again, proceeds go to building this up to a larger platform. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Shit. Well, nobody else joined in tonight. So, for those of y'all who did catch the show, I appreciate you. And, we just do a quick little recap. Guys. Look here. I don't know why any person would trust anything that they didn't earn. I got placed in a situation where I was given something, the Avatar perspective, that I did not earn. And then I went back and did all the work to vet it so that, at least on some level, I could feel like I deserve it. Or at least I'm a good steward for it. You know what I'm saying? But I was never so sold on the idea of me that I assumed it made me better than anyone, because the first thing that I'm forced to acknowledge is the fact that there are a lot of people who did a lot more work towards becoming spiritual and enlightened than I have, who probably would have done a better job with it than I have to date. And for some reason it fell in my lap. Because it fell in my lap and because I didn't earn it, I'm going to at least make sure I do the work to justify why it's here, why it performs through me. I don't know if I'm worthy per se. I don't know if anybody ever could be worthy of such a thing. But that's no excuse to not try to be. And I try. Anyway, it's your man. Much love to y'all. I hope you have a wonderful night. It's your man. I'm out.